Good day to all our clients and everybody that's subscribed to our YouTube channel. Also, everybody that's going to see this video on our WhatsApp group for clients. Um, I hope that you've all so far experienced a nice festive season. If you hear any additional noises during the course of this video, I think we all have extended family with us at the moment. And please excuse if there are any additional noises in the background. I know that many of our clients, as ourselves, are either on standby or working during this period. And therefore, with this announcement of the amended regulations, lockdown level 3, which is applicable as of midnight, I thought that it may be helpful if I post the documents, which is the document that I have in front of me, the amended regulations, as well as the hotspots on our WhatsApp group, also to make it available on our Facebook page, but also further to do a quick video and just highlight the most important things for our specific clients. I'm not going to touch on things in the document that does not necessarily pertain to employment law. However, it is there for your convenience in terms of travel, in terms of attendance of funerals, and in any other issues that may be of importance for you. But I'm not going to touch on that, obviously, due to the time constraint. I want to make this video as short and as helpful as possible. So without any further ado, this is the document I have in front of me, is the Disaster Management Act 2002 Amendment of Regulations issued in terms of Section 27.2, and that is the amended or adjusted regulations that is now going to be applicable during Alert Level 3. To start off with, first of all, movement of persons. I think it is important to just touch on that. We all know about the curfew between 9 o'clock and 6 o'clock daily. And just for our clients, if there is anyone, we have certain clients which are either in the medical field, some are in security. You need to have the permit, which is still the same permit that was applicable previously, if I read it correctly. But the permit must obviously be in the format that is prescribed. So permits will still be needed for anyone in those industries. It says except in areas like a hospital, unless a person, and then it goes on and it says has been granted permission through directions by the relevant cabinet member or a permit which corresponds with Form 7 of Annex A, and that I think we have touched on before. Or B is attending to a security or medical emergency. Those are the exclusions that they have in there. Then a closing time for the following establishments. I think in the document that I'm posting, if you look under 33B3, you'll see a list there of the closing time for certain establishments, which is 8 o'clock in the evening, and it lists a whole there's a whole list of places. If very important specifically for many of our clients, which are restaurants, please take note of 33B3F, which is applicable to restaurants, the closing time there. Then mandatory protocols when in a public place. I think it's worth a mention under section 34 there. If you're going to have a look at 34, 5 and 6, an employer may not allow any employee to perform any duties or enter the employment premises if the employee is not wearing a face mask while performing his or her duties. And 6, every business premises, including but not limited to a supermarket, shop, grocery store, retail store, wholesale, produce market or pharmacy shall. And then it's got a whole list of things that must be adhered to. Many of our clients have all those things in place also as part of the policies that we've drafted for them. It talks there of the determination of floor space and how many people may come in or out. I want to refer there to section 36.15C, which makes it, I think, a little bit easier, where it simply says under 36.15C, it says every business premises, including but not limited to supermarkets, shops, grocery stores, produce markets and pharmacies, are subject to a limitation of 50% of the floor space, which includes customers and employees, and subject to strict adherence to all health protocols, social distancing measures. So I think that's a good measure, as it is stated there. But if you go back and you look at 34, 5, and 6, under 6, it gives a whole list there of determining your floor space, not allowing too many people in. And then very importantly, under 34, 6E, I want to just draw your attention, assign in writing an employee or any other suitable person. This could be someone that's not necessarily employee, but which you appoint for that specific reason, as the compliance employee who must ensure, and then it's got two subsections. One, compliance with the measures provided for in paragraphs A to D, which is in the section A to D, which you can read. Two, that all directions in respect of hygienic conditions and limitation of exposure to persons with COVID-19 are adhered to. Now, again, in the policies that we've drafted and also in health and safety policies, we've clearly stipulated what these are, but I think most of us know what these measures are. I just want to draw your attention to them specifically saying this again. And then under 34, 7, 34C7, it says any business whose premises exceed the maximum number of customers and employees determined in subsection 6 commits an offence and is, on conviction, liable to a fine or to imprisonment for a period not exceeding 6 months, or both such fine and imprisonment. So they are fairly serious. And then you also know that in what the President announced, the onus is now not just on businesses, the onus is now also on individuals. It's now also a criminal offence if an individual is in a public space, for instance, without wearing a face mask. Then under the same section, 34.8, all employers must adopt measures to promote physical distancing of employees, including, and then it lists a whole bunch of things under 8 there, which you can look at. Again, many things that we have already implemented with many of our clients in terms of policies. Then there's attendance of funeral. Then under gatherings there are, which is number 36, there are one or two things that are applicable that I want to just point out. Under 36.3, all social gatherings, including faith-based gatherings, are prohibited for 2 weeks, after which this provision will be reviewed. We do have some clients which are churches, so take note of that. And then under 5, gatherings at a workplace for work purposes are allowed, subject to strict adherence to all health protocols and social distancing measures. This could, for instance, be a union meeting, it could be a meeting of employees, a workplace forum, or anything along those lines. So those are permitted, but the health protocols must be adhered to very strictly. Then again, under 15 of that section, I already said under gatherings that the following places are allowed, subject to limitations set out below. Restaurants, and this is now 15A, just to get you back, because one can easily get lost in these documents. So I just want to refer you back to, this is number 36, and it is 15, just for us all to be on the same page. Gatherings at the following places are allowed, subject to the limitations set out below. A. Restaurants, subject to a maximum of 50 persons or less for indoor venues, and 100 persons or less for outdoor venues, and if the venue is too small to hold the prescribed number of persons, observing a distance of at least 1.5 meters from each other, then not more than 50% of the capacity of the venue may be used, subject further to strict adherence to times and operation provided within the regulations. So restaurant clients especially, please take note of that under section 15. Then under B, health protocols and social distancing measures are provided from the directions, and then it says under B1, hotels, lodges, bed and breakfast, timeshare facilities, resorts and guest houses, and we have many of those clients, are allowed full capacity of the available rooms for accommodation, with patrons observing a distance of at least 1.5 meters from each other when in common spaces. So they make a determination when they differentiate between the rooms, obviously, and the common spaces. And then under 2, they go and they say conferencing, dining, and entertainment facilities are subject to a limitation of a maximum of 50 persons or less for indoor venues. Under C of that same section, still under 15, every business premises, including but not limited to supermarkets, shops, grocery stores, produce markets, and pharmacies, are subject to a limitation of 50% of the floor space, which includes customers and employees, and subject to strict adherence to the health protocols. That's this where I also refer to under 34.6. I hope I'm not confusing you. but those two go together. Obviously, it depends on how large or how small the establishment is to see which one is applicable. Then there's eviction, there's rental housing, then places and premises closed to the public. 39. It lists under 39 a whole bunch that are closed, like swimming pools, etc., public parks. But very important for our clients, bars, taverns, and shebeens are unfortunately closed. So that's very important to note. Then there's a section, partial reopening of borders, and I think this is also just important for some of our clients who do international travel and who do a lot of travel within South Africa. Maybe not necessarily now, but there are some that are still traveling at the moment. Under 42, this is 42.3, all international travel is permitted subject to A, the traveler providing a valid certificate of a negative test which was obtained not more than 72 hours before the date of travel, just to make sure. And then they list the airports which you may use. You can only use OR Tambo, King Shaka, or Cape Town International, and that's obviously to enforce this. Then under sale and dispensing of liquor, unfortunately, we all know what the situation with that is, and that is under section 44 A, B. A says for off-site consumption, B for on-site consumption is prohibited. Under 3 it says the tasting, and this is also important for some of our clients who are wine farms, the tasting and selling of liquor to the public by registered wineries, wine farms, and other similar establishments registered as micro manufacturers is prohibited. So just to take note of that as well, that's under 44.3. Then compliance officers, and this I think is very important under section 46. 46.1 under the heading compliance officers says the following. 46.1 industries, businesses and entities both private and in the public sector must A, designate a COVID-19 compliance officer who must oversee 1, the implementation of the plan referred to in paragraph B, and 2, strict adherence to the standards of hygiene and health protocols relating to COVID-19 at the workplace. B, develop a plan containing measures to ensure that the workplace meets the standards of health protocols, and then it goes on. These are also incorporated in the policies, especially the COVID-19 policy that we've drafted for our clients. So just be or take note of the fact that they are now going to be very strict on this, and you must and you should have anyway up to now, but certainly now with us going back to level 3, you must adhere to what is incorporated in that policy. And then under 46.2b, I just want to draw your attention. Designate a compliance officer to ensure that safety controls are strictly adhered to and display the name of the compliance officer prominently in the store or institution in a visible area. Obviously, the idea being that if there is a breach of any of these protocols, there must be a person that is clearly shown or indicated that anyone, like a customer for instance, can go to, or client, and go and lodge a complaint or say that they think that something is not right. I see lots of other issues here, or lots of other things that are not really applicable necessarily to what we are discussing here now. I think those are the most important things that I want to highlight. I am posting the document on the WhatsApp group. I'm also posting the document on the Facebook page. And with the help of this video, I think it should be easier to go through this 19 or 20 page document. If you have any questions, obviously our offices are closed, but there are our practice cell phones for both Etienne, Dylan, and myself that are recent or normally posted on the Facebook group. So feel free to send us an email. Go to the Facebook group, go to the YouTube channel. You will be able to contact us in some or other way if you are not a client. Most of our clients do have our practice cell phone numbers, which are monitored 24/7. So yes, not a nice situation to be in at the moment. I think that we all need to take responsibility for ourselves and for our families and our loved ones. And although this is not a nice thing to happen, I do also think that this virus is proving to be a little bit more serious than maybe some of us may think. And the best that we can do in terms of our businesses is to try our best to adhere to all the rules and regulations, and to try and do all we can to adhere to what we have to adhere to, but also still to remain open and to trade, because that's also very important, obviously. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact us, and thank you very much for listening to this video.